Greetings and welcome to another presentation by the Adrian Dominican Sisters of A Sister Story. And today we are blessed to have one of our sisters, Sister Norlee McDonnell, who is in mission and ministry and residency in Flossmoor, Illinois. Now, Sister Norlee, did you have another name, Norlee, a religious name?
I did.
And what was that?
I was blessed with the name Stella Caeli.
Oh, very good.
I do not know where that came from. It was not anything I chose. But Mother Gerald was on a binge of Latin names the year that we made profession of reception.
Okay. So just so our listeners realize that many times we were able to make choices, and many times our sisters did not get a choice. And sometimes they got the name of the sister behind them instead of the name. Yes. So anyway, what?
All the time that would not happen, because then I would have been Sister Purissima.
Oh, God. Stella Caeli is beautiful. Yeah. But anyway, you no longer have Stella Caeli. You have Norlee. So I invite you now to start at the beginning of your life and your parents and where you grew up and your siblings and schooling and different things like that. So It's all yours.
Okay, I'll start out by saying that I was born in Chicago at Jackson Park Hospital on October 26, 1935.
Okay.
My parents were Glenn Ellen Vance McDonnell and Thomas McDonnell. And my name is a combination of my two grandmothers, Leella Miller and Honora O'Shea.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Norlee. Yeah.
Although when I asked for that name when I entered, they said it was too theatrical.
And so you've been in the theater ever since, okay?
I have. This is true. My mother was born in Monessen, Pennsylvania, and she had two brothers, Albert and David. Albert was married to Lois, and they had two children, and David was married to Ines, and they had two children. And they lived in Kokomo, Indiana, and that's where we went on vacation. My mom became a Catholic just before she married, and so their wedding took place at St. Lawrence's Rectory.
Oh.
I don't think she was allowed in church yet. So I am the oldest of the three children. I have a brother, Thomas, and a sister, Mary Ellen.
Okay.
Thomas was a custom and FBI agent.
Oh.
And Mary Ellen is a teacher. And when Mary Ellen was a young lady, her friend asked her to go to Omaha and live with her and teach and do the things that they were doing there. They were really good friends. And then one night they went to Bill Bailey's bar, and that's where she met her love. And she stayed in Omaha for the rest of the time. So, and she had 5 children. Karen, David, Matthew, Michael, and Leanne. And Matthew sadly passed away in 2003. Thomas had 3 girls, Erin, Shannon, and Megan.
A little Irish.
A little. And then Tom and Sharon had 8 grandchildren, and Mary Ellen and Richard had 9, and they were very, very happy. When we were little, we lived at 1510 East 71st Place in a 2-flat above my grandparents. And I remember, one thing that I do remember was when the ending of World War II.
Okay.
And I don't know, do you remember air raids?
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that used to just scare us something fierce. And then you'd hear an airplane out, and you think, oh, we're going. So after a while, my mom and dad decided that they would like their own home. So my dad bought a home at 73rd and Blackstone, not far from where we lived originally.
Okay.
And then, of course, we went to high school. My sister and I went to Aquinas, and my brother went to Mendel. And so we kept ourselves pretty busy.
Where did you go to grade school?
We went to St. Lawrence's.
St. Lawrence. Okay.
Yes. And during that time, we had the St. Patrick's Day play.
Okay.
From Monsignor McGuire. And so every Friday we had dance lessons from Miss Green. And then for St. Patrick's Day, we were in a show. We had pretty little costumes, and I wasn't always in the front row, but
but it was fun. Uh-huh.
I had a good time anyway.
Yeah, I can tell. Mm-hmm.
And so that came in handy later on, and I'll tell you why. But my dad worked for the newspapers, and my mother was a nurse. My dad was a print setter, and so in the 40s, I think it was in the 40s, the newspapers went on strike for 2 years, and my dad moved to St. Louis for a while, but he was so lonesome that he had to come back, and then he took little odd jobs around. He was a guard in a car sales place, and we didn't like that because we were afraid for him.
Yeah, it's hard.
So that was not a nice time.
And your mom was a stay-at-home mom?
She was until I left home, and then she went back to nursing.
Oh, she was a nurse. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, she was a nurse at Jackson Park Hospital where we were all born. So that was kind of
good. You got special attention because they knew your mother.
Yeah, right, exactly. So then I started Aquinas in 1950. And during that time, because of the price of tuition and stuff, we worked in the cafeteria and plus outside, little jobs that we babysitting and
right
at the theater for a while and all kinds of little things like that
to help with the tuition.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because after my dad went back to work, but they never caught up. They were never able to catch up from what they when he was on strike.
Right. That's so sad. Yeah.
So long.
So you met some Adrian Dominicans because they were at both grade school and high school, correct?
Right. I mean, it was just like grade school, high school, convent, just a stream of. And when I told my dad I was going to go that I wanted to go in the convent, his remark was, "That's as funny as pianos falling from heaven playing Who'da Thunk It."
Did he really? Now, why did he say that, you think?
Pardon?
Why did he say that? What did he mean?
Well, I think what he meant was if anybody was going to go in the convent, it would have been my sister.
Right,
and
right.
I was a little on the wild side.
Oh, okay. That's a little secret about you. What's one wild thing that you did that he maybe frowned upon?
Oh, mercy.
Yeah,
I don't know so much she frowned on it. It was just that I was very active.
good.
I was working and this, stuff that I didn't calm down. It was just, so,
Fun.
but I got calmed down when I went to Adrian, for sure. But, and that's during that time when we were in high school, Father Caeli, I don't know if you ever heard that name.
Yes, I did many times. Yes.
Yeah. Well, he was at our church, St. Lawrence's, and he took 3 of us to Adrian. And we stopped in the Sturgis, Michigan.
Sturgis, okay.
And the good sisters gave us lunch. It was a long, long day because there were
no freeways. Yeah.
No free at that
Yeah.
point. I thought we'd never get there. So let me see what else.
So you got to Adrian. What happened when you got to Adrian? You were just visiting.
We kind of went through by the mother house, and of course we didn't have a lot of those buildings then. It was there was no Regina, there was no center, there was so, and the sisters were very, very good to us as and of course, oh well, then we wanted to go right then. Well, I go home as long as we're there, but so that was kind of that's the place. So then when I did go in, I left about 2 weeks after I graduated from high school, June 27th, and 8 of us took the train from Chicago to Adrian.
On the day you entered?
On the day we entered. Our parents had fixed us all a very nice lunch to have on the train, and we did not eat any of it. I mean, we were so nervous, but the sisters took the lunches, and I'm sure they took very good care of them.
Did they accompany you? Did any sisters go with you?
No.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
So when we got there, I don't remember how we got to the mother house from the train station. I don't remember that. But anyway, so there were 72 of us that day that entered.
Yeah.
And 8 of us were from Chicago and Joliet.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, Aquinas had about 5.
Right.
So, yeah. And when we were there as a postulant, Mother Gerald called all of us together in the gymnasium, and she gave out jobs to a lot of the little sisters, except for about 10 of us. And she told us to go upstairs, pack. We were going to go out to teach.
Oh, you were special.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. I remember Sister Rose, and I think it was Sister Rose Vincent, every Sunday would sit with me and help me with my plans,
Okay.
because I didn't know anything about teaching school, that's for sure.
So where did you go off to teach?
I went to St. Bridget in Detroit.
Okay. And what did you teach?
2nd grade.
Okay.
And there was no convent. We lived in 2 houses. Some of us lived across the street, and then the superior was over at the other house.
Okay.
Which was nice. So we had a good time anyway.
Good.
So
good.
Christmas time, we went back into Adrian, of course, to start our novitiate. And so we were there for a year, of course. And December 31st, we made our first profession. And then I stayed in to study because I had gone out to teach, and the sisters that didn't go out went out on mission now, and the rest of us stayed in and studied for that. until for a year.
Okay,
And we got caught up with everything.
good.
My first assignment was St. Jude's in Detroit. There were 24 sisters there.
Oh,
And it was like having a novitiate there. Thomas Annette was our superior, principal there. And about 8 or 9 of us were we had not made our first vows yet. So it was a young crowd of people.
those days were long gone by now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then Sister Noreen Burns was my teaching partner and my cooking partner, because we had to have partners. We couldn't, And our classrooms were wall-to-wall children.
Right.
50 or 60.
Yes.
I mean, it was. And we had 3 first grades. We had almost 3 of every grade. There were 1,700 kids in that school.
Right.
So
St. Jude's, that's a very famous school over there in Detroit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was there for 7 wonderful years. And then my first change, I went to Ruth, Michigan.
Oh, up north.
And I was okay about going until I saw the cattle crossing sign. And I thought, oh Lord, what am I into now? Because the city girl going to the country was not exactly what I was hoping for.
And going from a large community to a small number of you in there.
7 or 9, I don't remember. And we lived on the 2nd floor of school.
Okay.
And that was a tough year for me.
Okay.
I say that, not because of the sisters, it was just
personally, yeah.
Personally, it was a time. And then in 1960, we came back and made our final vows. And then Father James McDonnell, who was my uncle, he was a Vincentian priest. He gave me my ring.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And my ring is his mother and my grandmother's ring.
Wonderful. Very special.
It's her wedding band.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Norlee, we can't go through every place you've been. So as you look at the next few years, are there is there 1 or 2 that was extremely influential in your life or challenging, or because you went
several challenging.
Yeah, I think we all went through some of that. Yeah.
I when I went to St. Mary's in Swanton, Ohio, loved it. Taught first grade, I think.
Okay.
And then it was also a country town, but it was a little bit more active.
Good.
And then the migrants would come in on Tuesday night, and we each had 1 child to take care of. And my little guy was named Philip. And he'd stand outside my window and yell, "Hey, Stella, I'm here."
Oh, Stella Caeli. Hey, Stella. I love it. How dear. Uh-huh.
So that was, back and forth. And I think I had 6 or 7 places that I had been. Now, where do you want me to go from
No,
there?
I was just now, did the number of students go down? I mean, I know those days when we had 60 and 70 children in a classroom. When did they start to get smaller?
I don't know about Detroit.
Yeah.
The Swantons was smaller, not
Okay.
like 30 or 40. And I taught, you won't believe this, I taught second grade, and then I taught high school in the afternoon.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
So. Good. So you did the teaching, and then you went to Flossmoor, because you have been there for 50 some years,
Right.
starting as a teacher. And then what else happened in Flossmoor?
Well, I was in an accident in 1975.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was we were going, our music director wanted me to go try out for Hello Dolly at Park Forest. Now, I don't know why she did, because I can't sing a note, but I can dance. I mean, I used to be able to dance, but we were hit head on going over there. And so I was hospitalized for 2 months.
Oh my.
But it was special. It was a special time for me because I spent a lot more time with my mom and dad, because they'd come every day. And my dad died shortly after that.
Okay.
So I always felt like that was a gift.
Yes.
A heart with a gift. And then when I was at Flossmoor, they had a program, Curtain Call, where the adults did different shows. You know, it was a money-making thing. And I taught a lot of dancing to different people, and taught. I had 3 guys that were dancing to Susie. I Love Susie. Oh Lord, that was something else. But they made a lot of money. We had a wonderful time, and that's where I began to know the people there, because different people were different shows and stuff, and it was wonderful. And then I had friends forever and ever from there.
So you really used your dancing and your theatrical gift.
Oh yes, and I loved it.
Good.
And I was in all the shows except the last one.
Okay. Are you still involved in that type of entertainment?
No. And now I can hardly walk. I'm with a walker and stuff. So no, and they're not doing that anymore anyway. That took a lot of time and from the people. So, but it was a wonderful experience. Absolutely.
But the exercise that you did while you were doing that dancing for years and years probably helped you in your recuperation, because you were so active.
Right.
That's
and
good.
My friend and I walked every morning after.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So
So now we find you at Infant Jesus of Prague, and what is it that you're in mission there about?
Well, after I started teaching, I had the first grade for a while, then I had second grade, which I loved. And I loved getting ready for First Communion. I didn't like getting ready for confession with those little ones, but First Communion was great. And then in 1975, there was 2 little children in our parish that were dying, and Father Hills had a really hard time dealing with that. And so he wanted more help. And so Sister Sorella and I started the Pastoral Care program.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, she moved to another church. But it was until I retired, I was in that full time.
Wonderful.
And I took care of, we had a hospital open up, which we were responsible for, in our parish boundaries. So I would go over there for emergencies. I worked in the emergency room over there.
Wow.
And I went to home visits, giving communion to people. Went to the hospitals to visit people until they put in that rule that you can't, have all the secrets. So
all the secrets.
Well, they wouldn't tell you who was in the hospital anymore.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You can't tell. HIPAA, the HIPAA laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that really squashed us. So that was a little bit hard. But that program went from, and I trained the first group of people who volunteered to go around to the homes and take communion. And there was about 7 or 8 of them. And then the archdiocese was starting to have programs, and so we would send the ladies and gentlemen there to learn how to do the pastoral care.
So you just have kept on keeping on, being involved in preaching the good news, I can tell, or dancing the good news. Do you have a special scripture saying that's special to you and that has helped you through the tough times and the good times?
I do. It's funny. I was looking through all these things, to have this ready. And because I did a lot of funerals,
right,
I was able to help people with that. I love the Philippians. And now my family, all that is true, all that is noble. I love that. And
beautiful.
I also love the valiant woman.
Wonderful. Who shall find one? Right in front of me. Seriously, our life. We've come this far, you've come as far as you've come, and you still got more to go. But that's a valiant woman. You are a valiant woman with the ups and the downs. And people don't really know all the ups and downs of each of us. Even the people you meet on the street or in the store or that. Is there something, a lesson that you learned in your lifetime that you'd share with us that we could learn from?
I think the biggest lesson I learned is to have true empathy for people and not to judge them. Especially, I think sometimes when people are sick, you want to be so gentle with them. And yet, it's sometimes very hard. But empathy, I think, is one of the biggest ones that I would say. And patience.
Oh, that's hard.
Patience.
Yes,
I mean,
patience.
I learned it anyway.
Patience for sure. Now, there's another question I have, but you know what? I think you probably answered it. Is there something about you that we think, oh my gosh, you're kidding, that we'd be so surprised about you, besides the dancing?
Oh, that I stayed here so long?
Well, no, I mean, you are there a long time. What's keeping you there? When are you going to come and live with us here on campus?
Well, when I was in for my Jubilee about 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I came in and just the walking almost did me in.
Yeah.
I just couldn't hardly handle it. So and I have, my brother bought me, not bought me, but bought a condo that I'm living in right now, right across the street. And no stairs. Wonderful neighbors.
We have elevators on campus.
I know you do. I don't think physically right now I can handle.
Yeah. Well, just know we would love to have you. More and more people are coming to the home country here. But
I know it's amazing.
Yeah, I know. Who's left in Chicago?
Not many, I'll tell you, not many. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you wished I had asked you and I didn't? I know we kind of went quickly through the end here, but I am grateful what you have shared. Is there something else you wish I had asked that you prepared so well for?
Not really. I had a lot of things to say, but once you start, you kind of get tongue-tied.
No, you did great. No, you did great.
I don't think so. The only thing is that I regret, and I can't say, I shouldn't use the word regret, but because of my health, I had to stop working.
Yeah.
About 6 years ago, I guess now. And if that had not happened, I would still be working because I love my pastoral care.
And I bet you are still doing pastoral work.
Well,
so you don't check in and check out, but just who you are. You can't just give that up. That's part of who you are. When you go shopping, when you go to the doctor, whatever you do, you're constantly constantly, and yeah,
I try to get to funerals. That's one thing I do
Good.
try to do. And, you know, I don't, just my presence there
mhm.
for the people who know me.
It's
Now,
comforting.
I went to church 2 weeks. I don't go every time because I can't walk. I have to rely on somebody taking me.
Yeah,
But I only knew about 10 people that were at that mass on Saturday night because with the putting the three churches together, you know, there were a lot of
right.
people.
Mhm.
And it was a beautiful thing to see so many people, but I don't know.
It was a loss
Yeah.
right in front of you. Yeah. And every day you experience that in another way. But I just encourage you not to think you're not continuing in mission and ministry, or your mission in life is to continue to be who you are. And that's a caring, loving, empathic woman, a valiant woman, just like you said. That's probably why you like that so much. So it's delightful to have met you, to have spent this time with you. And I've learned lots about, as my life continues to try to be a good, valiant woman, like the women before me, like yourself, have modeled so well. So thank you, Norlee, so very much.